Now available in paperback and e-readers, Isis, My Sister, My Frenemy. It's a sister act as the goddess next door and the devilish diva team up in this action-packed Isis series adventure. Get Isis, My Sister, My Frenemy in paperback and e-readers everywhere. Over the weekend, there was a viral video where several performers at Sesame Place participated in racism against black children. Now, in this video, a performer dressed as the Rosita character on Sesame Street was shown walking down a path in a parade, and she gives high fives to white children and then goes out here and says no to black children. Now, those black children were devastated by this because many little kids, they grow up watching shows like Sesame Street. They form an identification with the characters and relationship with the characters, and when they see a performer dressed like said character reject them, this winds up scarring them for life because that child basically is being rejected by the character they grew up with, and they don't know what's really going on, and it really hurts them because that character rejects them. But what we're seeing right here is that this person dressed as the character is participating in anti-black racism, and they're participating in anti-black racism and feeling like they can do this with impunity. And the reason why I believe they can do this is because, one, they believe they have the anonymity behind the costume that they're wearing, and two, many of these racists out here feel more free and open to participate in their racism due to the changes in America's culture. Ever since 2008 with the election of Barack Obama, many Americans have been feeling like they've become more polarized, and ever since the election of Donald Trump in 2016, many have been feeling emboldened to participate in racist behavior and participating in this type of behavior openly. Ever since the election of Donald Trump, we have seen more and more racists feeling more like they can just go out here and participate in their racism freely, and it's become extremely disturbing that you would think that somebody would go out here and believe they have the audacity to go out here and participate in racism towards black children in a place like Sesame Place, which is supposed to be open to all children. That is what's really troubling here as related to the video I saw at Sesame Place, and it looks like this might possibly be a culture because we see that in the video as it goes on, we see other performers going out here and doing black children bad. There was somebody dressed up in a purple costume, looking like one of Telly or one of these characters, and he wound up bumping into a child and knocking her on the ground, and another one that was dressed like Bert who wound up possibly slapping a child, again expressing their disrespect and contempt towards black children. And that's really troubling when you think about it, because here is again a place like Sesame Place, which is supposed to be open for all children, and as a part of the so-called children's television workshop, you're supposed to be teaching children how to have positive social interactions, but instead of these children being taught positive social interactions by people dressed in these costumes, what they're doing is going out here and participating in open racism against those children. And when they participate in that open racism against those children, what they are doing is traumatizing those children, because again, many of these children, they grow up blank slates. They grow up identifying with these characters that they see on TV, and they beg their parents to take them into a place like Sesame Street and Sesame Place to go see their favorite characters. And when they see their favorite characters reject them like this and put a white child over them, this can devastate a child who is basically 2, 3, 4 years old, and basically make it where you give them their first experience with racism, and you go out here and just do serious emotional damage to that child's development, because that's what happened here. These children's development was severely damaged by this behavior, and this is something your Sesame Place really needs to deal with. But instead of dealing with it, they try to make excuses for the individuals, saying, oh, they couldn't see them. But we all know that's BS from looking at the viral video, because if this person had a hard time seeing, why did they say no to the individual in the parade scene? Why did they go out here and wave their hand? No, it's clear to me that they saw the children but didn't want to interact with the children, and didn't consider the children, and didn't consider the children's development by going out here and acting in a positive fashion. And acting in a positive fashion would have been acknowledging those black children and treating those black children with the same respect that you would treat a white child. That would be the right thing to do in this kind of situation, would be treat those children right. But it seems like there's a starting of a racist culture in a place like Sesame Place. And that's really troubling when you really think about it, that a place like Sesame Place is filled with some racist employees, and these racist employees are looking like they feel so comfortable in participating in anti-black racism that they can go out here and express it publicly out here in interacting with children. That is the most troubling thing about this whole incident at Sesame Place, is that it seems like somebody in management is not checking their workers, because if your workers were on point, they would not be out here feeling so emboldened that they can go out here and flagrantly disrespect black customers and flagrantly disrespect black children. No, if there was a strong leadership in this Sesame Place, they would have taken this individual on seeing this video and terminated that individual, because this is how you deal with this type of racism. You don't allow people to put on your costumes unless they meet a standard for your conduct and your behavior, because a performer is not just representing the Sesame Place. They are also representing the brand of your children's television workshop, and this is not something that should be a part of that standard, because we should be trying to help children develop and as related to their socialization in a positive fashion, and this type of behavior doesn't help a child develop positively as related to their social interaction. No, when a performer goes out here and treats white customers better than black customers, what that sends a message is that that black person's life has less value, and that black person needs to be treated with as a less than person, and needs to just accept that they need to be number two in the world to a white person. And that's not something that we should be teaching children, because that's the type of message that white supremacists tried to teach kids during Jim Crow. And again, that's why I believe this person is unfit to work at a place like Sesame Place, which is a place where you need to put the children first and treat those children with respect. Now, the response black people have to take with your Sesame Place as related to this racism, and their response to it, is they have to go out here and start holding their dollars, because when a company disrespects you and does not give you proper service, you don't keep spending money with that company. No, what you do is you take your money and you spend it elsewhere, and send a message to that company that if you do not respect the black customer, then you do not get to receive the black dollar. There's no need to go out here and get upset and emotional. No, the ultimate action that you do is send a message with your money, because these places are expensive with their admission, they're expensive with their souvenirs, and if they don't want to give you a good customer experience that a white person is going to get when they go there, then you need to take your black dollars elsewhere and you need to send a message that if I can't get respect from your business, then you don't get my dollars. And as we're doing this, keeping our money, we need to really start thinking about going over to all of the black creators out there and giving them your money, because there are lots of black creators and black authors out here who create characters similar to those in Sesame Place and Sesame Street. There are black creators out there creating children's books and children's characters that are looking like us and will teach us to love ourselves. And we need to start putting money into those types of literature in our children at an early age, because that's going to teach our children black pride, and it's going to teach them to love themselves at an early age. Because once you start looking at media that looks at like yourself at an early age, then you start to imagine yourself in the world, and you start to imagine a place for yourself in the world. So as I see it, if they want to be racist at Sesame Place, okay, you can be a racist. But what we're going to do is, as black people, I say, is go out here and take our money and go out here and spend it on books with characters that look like us, books that feature stories that feature us, and go out here and instill pride in our children so that they understand that they don't have to go out here and beg for the acceptance of some character on Sesame Street, or a person in a costume looking like Sesame Street. No, we'll have our own characters and our own stories so that we don't have to go out here and beg for acceptance and then get devastated when they reject us. And that's the whole thing that's really, again, troubling about this whole thing. These people didn't think about the children. No, all they thought about was themselves, and all they thought about was going out here and walking away from those black children, not thinking about the impact you're going to have on those black children's lives. Because that's when you're going out here and you're having interactions with children, you have to be very mindful of how you behave in front of those children, because how you behave can impact that child for the rest of their lives. And I believe that the people at Sesame Place, there's clearly something wrong with management, because a hostile and insensitive person like this, they really needed to be taken and dealt with by being terminated, because you cannot go out here and mistreat children like this, because again, this impacts their development, this impacts how they see the world, and when they see a character that they form a deep personal connection with wind up rejecting them, this can wind up hurting a child for years, because children, again, they form relationships with these characters. They become very close to these characters. And I know this for a fact because I had a Puzzle Town set and I had a Mare Fox character I had formed a relationship with. So I know how these characters, you form connections with them when you're very young. And going to Sesame Place, that meant a lot to that child. And you basically hurt this child and hurt their whole relationship with these characters. And again, this is why you have to, when you hire people, you have to explain to them that you cannot go out here and do this. Unfortunately, many companies are desperate, and they go out here and they're hiring these young people who basically are showing us that they have become just as racist as their grandfathers. Because when I was thinking about this incident, I thought about what Mr. Superboy had said in one of his videos about this current generation being more racist than the previous generation. Now, the Gen Xers, we were supposed to be the first generation to come out and be so-called better people, but we're seeing that the people who are coming after us, what's really troubling is that they're becoming more racist than their grandfathers and participating in the same behaviors, because the only type of place where this would be justified would be during the dark days of Jim Crow, where a performer would be able to get away with this kind of behavior. And again, it's really troubling to me, because it says that the nation is going in the wrong direction. Because when a black child can't go to a place like Sesame Place and feel safe about interacting with people who are dressed as their favorite puppets, it shows that our nation is on a bad course, and it's a course taking us back to the darkest days of Jim Crow. Now, if you want to pick up some positive black fiction for your children, you can pick up many of the books on the SJS Direct imprint, like the ISIS series, the E-Steam series, and if your kids are a little older, like they're tweens, you can pick up books in the Spinsterella trilogy and books like E-Steam: The Sands of Time. And if you want to see me make more videos like this, you can donate to my Patreon, my PayPal, or my Cash App by clicking the links in the description box. That's all I have to say for this video. You can comment, rate, and subscribe. Now available in paperback and e-readers, Isis, the Beauty Myth. Learn the beauty secrets of the goddess next door in this action-packed Isis series adventure. Get Isis, the Beauty Myth at online booksellers everywhere today.